This is Pastor Route.
I don't know if I've told you guys this yet, that none of me running routes on Caesar got caught on film at all. None of that caught. None of that was recorded.
That guard's got to get his hand more on the butt. He's got to get it up in there a little more. He's not pushing hard enough.
He didn't get a push.
Yeah. Pre-snap, he's got to have his hand on the butt and then go, right? He's got no space.
The quarterback.
No chance that's going to work. You got to push the right butt cheek specifically.
Yes, each of them got a butt cheek. They got to get, yeah, that is disappointing.
Yeah. I think there's three guys back there. One takes each cheek and one goes right down the middle. There's room in there.
What the Rock is cooking.
Lightning fast, big black cats, Panthers kicking ass. Yo, with a TD or a field goal, gonna get that W, dominate the foe. Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football.
That just made me remember that Luke Kuechly retired early on them, so they technically are in the Lions zone right now.
You know, hearing
They've been
that
to a
makes
couple
me.
Super Bowls.
Hey, I'm just saying the clock starts now.
They've won a playoff game since we were born.
Yeah.
Jake Delhomme almost won a Super Bowl, guys. Never stop believing.
Jake Delhomme.
I like to
wanna
believe that
go
that
home.
was Steve Smith almost won a Super Bowl. Less Jake.
Hey, and Mushin Muhammad? Mushin?
No, Musin Muhammad.
Musin. Yeah, it's been so long.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But with that, we are back. We're here. We're gonna get into the meat of what everyone really cares about the most.
Big meat.
The National Football League, and for
I don't
that,
care
we
about
go
big
to
meat that much, but sometimes.
our expert, our go-to, our number one footballer, LC's.
Me, the number
Football.
one person of football in the history of the game. All right, gentlemen, it's good to be back. I hope that you all enjoyed week 4. All of our teams came out victorious. And why beat around the bush? Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's recap the week that was this NFL week 4. Now, I want to start things off. I think I'm going to do things going forward just in order of standings, right? So it would be me, Bethke. Then I know you're in the NFC North, but your team does have the worst record amongst the three of us.
He has very subtle
sure?
ways at flexing the Eagles. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not that
Listen.
subtle.
Listen, but here's the thing. Because I don't believe that this Eagles team will be in first place for that much longer. But we'll get into that. Starting with this game against the Washington Commanders, the Eagles eked out a 34-31 overtime win. Sam fucking Howell. Oh my god, that kid was just... It was so frustrating to watch him play, because every time you thought that they had him dead to rights, the man would just pull a play out of his ass.
I tried to tell y'all, this is must-watch, must-see TV. I don't know if it's good, I don't know if it's bad, but it's much-see.
He is a train wreck at quarterback, but in the best possible way, because you just don't know if what he's about to do is going to be great or it's going to be awful. But against the Philadelphia Eagles defense, most times it was a positive play. Let's be real, he pulled some plays out of a hat, led them to a game-tying touchdown drive at the end, which, you know, let's be real, if you watch that game, the Commanders definitely should have won in regulation, but thank the Lord above that Ron Rivera is a coward and did not want to go for 2 because he said, and I quote, his team was a little tired for that. So,
Thinking. He wants Brock Bowers.
if he's tanking for a tight end, he's not doing a great job with a 2-2 record. But yeah, just kind of go into some of the things that I took note from that game. One, the Eagles offense in terms of explosive downfield plays was finally clicking, but Jalen Hurts still doesn't really look like last year's version of Jalen Hurts. So I'm still kind of sweating that one out. The Eagles defense could not get off the fucking field when it mattered the most. Either dumb penalties or they just could not stop the monster that was Sam Howell on a good day. Other than that, you look at the Washington Commanders, they bounced right back from a 37-3 ass kicking that they received at the hands of the Bills. So something tells me they might be a little feisty going forward in the division. They're not a threat to win the division, but they will make the Cowboys and Eagles sweat these games out if they're on one, which that defensive line was on one. I do want to say one thing. If you want to stop the brotherly shove, as they want to call it, you just got to tell the refs, look out for the linemen being offsides when everybody on the defensive line is, in fact, offsides as well.
Oh, we already know Lane Johnson has, like, the Eagles are getting close to being the Warriors with the moving screen with these snaps.
See, but he times it perfectly, but he is riding that line.
But that's
He's
all I'm
riding that
saying
line.
is, if you ask an Eagles fan, that's what they say. You ask anybody else, it's a different story. And I'm telling you, it's the same thing with the Warriors and the moving screens. It's fine. If they get away with it, I'm not that bad. But
Yeah.
This is why it's divisive.
Yeah, but that Lane Johnson had nothing to do with this one in particular with the whole brotherly shove, which I want to say, I want to take this moment to take a shot at the hack over at Sports Illustrated named Peter King, because he is a hack nowadays. He has been crying, moaning, and just bitching about this play not being a football play. It's an automatic when teams do it. But I'm like, listen,
Isn't it
really
like
only
more or less like rugby, like a traditional rugby, which is what this thing
No.
is just like born from? Like what?
I mean, not necessarily. So Jordan Mailata, who himself a former professional rugby player,
Okay.
has gone on record as like, this is not what most rugby scrums are actually like. But there is like
what the big deal is here. When did we start getting mad? I thought this was just a QB sneak with the running back actually doing something.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
It's
most
really
times,
nothing. It's kind of a non-story.
It's a
and
thing, but like Peter King, for whatever reason, is really pissed off that people like the Eagles are good at this. I'm like, hey, do we not remember the times when Tom Brady was almost automatic in the QB sneaks? Like nobody complained then.
Yeah,
Like,
his was weird though.
I think we
Yeah,
saw this
'cause
week
he would
two
fall down.
different,
I mean,
two
yeah,
different teams
it's-
tried the tush push and failed. That
Yeah,
were the
and-
Eagles.
they failed
Yeah.
miserably, and like, hey, it's just the Eagles just coach it better. I don't know why they're successful.
They have
at
a
it.
great offensive line. It's not that hard to figure out. There's like
Yeah.
these could
And then-
all like if they're all healthy for a season, then most likely all 5 or 4 out of
And
the
then
5, at worst 3 out of the 5 are in the Pro Bowl or all pro.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
and then
It's not that hard to
they-
figure out.
the commentary, it doesn't matter who the broadcast team is, will not stop to remind you about Jalen Hurts squatting 600 pounds at Oklahoma. Me personally, like, I'm tired of hearing about them. Like we get it, he lifts. Let's move on. But anyway,
Well, it doesn't really
this
matter
game-
what Jalen does. All he has to do is just get smushed up and survive that, and his body seems to do that well. So
yeah,
I think that's all you need
but-
to worry about on his aspect of that.
yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, just to kind of finish up my thoughts quickly on this game. Stressful game. Eagles still have yet to play a complete game, but shout out Jake Elliott for being the best kicker not named Justin Tucker right now, because that guy he is the reason this Eagles team is 4-0. And that might be my hottest take about the Eagles so far. But anyway, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys and the absolute ass kicking that they gave to the Bill Belichick New England Patriots.
Say it
Yeah, no,
correctly.
you-
Say it correctly. The historic ass whooping the Dallas
Historic.
Cowboys gave Bill Belichick.
You are right. That is a historic ass whooping of, well, unprecedented nature, right? That's the worst loss of his entire career. 35-point drubbing, 38-3 victory over the Patriots. Like, I did not watch too much of this game because I had to drive to Oklahoma at one point, but I had the game on the radio. And man, every time it just sounded like the Patriots were on offense. I'm like, wow, talk about facing a buzzsaw. And then you look at the Patriots offense and it's a buzzkill. terrible combination for them. Go up against its defense. Dog, I don't know where to start with this one, but Bethke, I want to kind of get your thoughts on what you saw, like just from not just from the Cowboys defense, because I know that they put in a lot of work, but did you see anything on the offense that made you feel like, all right, this thing's going back on track? Because that Arizona Cardinals game was a little weird for both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't that game. Was not a repeat performance, and then McCarthy's team it improves its stat as a bounce back team from a loss. So I like that. That's definitely not Jason Garrett shit. But really, I said it earlier. In the baseball part of this situation, like I really just want to sit here and say a simple thank you to Mac Jones. I appreciate it. No disrespect at all to any certain Cowboys, to the Dakota Prescott fans. They looked good. I'm not complaining. No Dakota-isms, no jokes this week, but they're always coming. They're always there. I got jokes for all my players though, so he's just one of them.
I have a question about you as a fan. Are you concerned at all? Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
You honestly,
who should I Photoshop into a national event next?
We'll see. I mean, it might still be Dak very quickly. Honestly, maybe just Cooper Rush. I might just need Cooper Rush out of here still, so I still get Lance whenever these games turn into ass whoopings. Because every time I see Cooper Rush now, I want to fight him, and it's not fair to him or me.
I'm confused why they got Trey Lance. Is it just to try to run the 49ers in practice squad because they've lost to him 2 years in a row?
Not necessarily a no to that, because that's probably the thing they're selling them as the borderline. I think the reaction is more or less like, what does next year look like with this kid as the backup? If he can do that. If he can do that, then an opportunity presents himself, and maybe we get an asset we can flip. Otherwise, he's just a toy, an experiment, a cheap one to them.
Because they gave up decent draft picks for him.
A middle pick. It was one middle pick, right?
It was a 4th round pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep him for at least 2 years is the way I look at that. I look at that as they're going to try this for a 2-year project. This year, Cooper Rush is more valuable, but that's probably not the case moving forward because Cooper Rush, to be fair, isn't that... Like, he is so good, and it's fine if you want to look for something a little sexier than him in the emergency that Dakota Prescott suffers a major injury. Like, that's the upside Trey Lance brings, is that worst comes to worst, in the next 2 years, he could potentially save a team from a rotting season. But, you can second guess the decision all you want. It's definitely fine. When it happened, that was kind of always the part of like, why are you guys taking on this project? You guys are other fish to fry. And that's a fair point. But I don't think they could improve the defensive tackle in any way, at least yet. Maybe they should have waited to see how some of these teams go if the trade deadline starts to get more active in the NFL. But that doesn't really often be the case. And so,
the last year definitely set precedent that
I hope it happens. I hope people start making trades.
We already got our first big trade of the season with J.C. Jackson going from the Chargers to the Patriots, where they continue the trend, and not to derail this, but they continue the trend of Patriots players good, leave for the bag somewhere else, are bad there, and then come back and are good again.
That's the program. So, it works for them. It has so far. But yeah, so that's all for the Cowboys. If there's some issues, I still think that they're light in the ass when it comes to running back. And I think that the offensive line is just always just like, why am I still dealing with this? It's just annoying. It's like at this point, it's acceptance. I'm at the Sean Lee phase of acceptance with the whole offensive line, mostly just Tyron Smith.
I mean, yeah, he's played like 50% of his games over the last 6 years.
Bro, I thought this man was going to retire 2 years ago, and it's fine. I'm happy he can play well when he is playing.
When he's out there, he's,
like,
he's great.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because he took the pay cut. And maybe this is the last year seriously, so it's fine. I'm not that mad about it, but it's just like the offensive line stuff was annoying just to hear. The rest of it's fine. I feel like the offense is just going to take a while to gel. The Texas coast. Whatever, whoever even named that, I feel like they're trying to push that really hard right now.
Which they.
So
I feel like I only heard that the first
I do have
week
one.
that they came up with it.
I'm still hearing it a lot in the Cowboys stuff I watch, in the post games, the interviews. Dakota says it a lot. Or they ask it to Dakota a lot. When they phrase the question to Dakota, it's usually in the Texas Coast offense question is the way they've been phrasing it. So anyway, long story short, I don't feel like I know anything else about the Dallas Cowboys other than they got handed cookies and they gobbled them up and put on a show, and that's all I could ask.
Fair. Now, have you heard anything you personally like when you're looking into Dallas Cowboys stuff about the concerns regarding the red zone offense? Because I've seen this a lot with recently. So either it's 105.3 The Fan or maybe Dave Hellman or somebody else. What's his name? Bobby Belt. Different guys. They'll bring up something regarding the Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy, and that is at the tail end of his career with the Packers, they got progressively worse as a red zone offense to where it was a very big noticeable change once McCarthy left the Packers, and they immediately became better at it. And now it seems that weakness in his game as a coach is following him to Dallas, where it's getting steadily worse in the red zone, and that seems to be an issue with the Cowboys. Are you concerned at all, just from a viewing experience? Like, are you getting frustrated when they get to the red zone and they're settling for field goals half the time?
Yeah, I'm laughing at it every time just because it's obvious. It's like, for me, it's laughable because I had to listen to so much bullshit about Ezekiel Elliott for so fucking long, and it's like, literally, I'm fine with how they did it, but it's like you brought in no one else to be the meat tenderizer, like no one else, and maybe the fullback will start doing that now, and that'll help a lot. Because like I don't know why the fullback's not doing that. If we have him, he's talented. Like let this kid take a few touches in the middle of a stacked box and like help you out. Like not even just in the red zone. I feel like that's such a blatant glare. Like even poor what's his name Deuce. Fucking poor little Deuce can't get anything done because he's like, there's no element of surprise for him because there is no change. Like he's basically just smaller, maybe quicker. Tony Pollard, maybe, I don't know, probably not. But Pollard's fast, but you know what I mean. They're very similar kind of players. So that is my issue. I think Dakota still needs to kind of sack up a little bit and maybe be more physical around the goal line. At least that's what it's felt like this year. There's been at least one that on the tape, I think it was the Cardinals game, where you're just like, dude, what the fuck are you reading? Like, are you scared? Can't have that in the modern football. Like even Brock Purdy, like, you know what I mean? Like I need you to be taking those opportunities when you know it's the end zone you're risking, not a first down in the middle of the second quarter or some shit. Like, if it's a touchdown, that's when I need you to take that business decision on a fucking safety, especially, or a fucking cornerback.
I would say it's also the sample size of red zone that you get is so small, especially early in the season, of like, when you happen to get in, what the situation is of the game when you're in there to determine what type of plays you're running. There's also like the Cowboys scored a touchdown from like the 20.02 yard line. So
yeah, the CD
count
touchdown was a
21
yarder or something.
It's so I mean, you're right that there is that history of it, but I also think that you need more than 4 games to know if that's a real problem or if it's just
I think I would say like
a
it's still a quarter of the
one.
season, it's still not anymore.
Yeah, but you're only getting
but it's
so
still
many...
enough to be noticeable. You start to see habits start to form
at getting to the red zone, and then when you do, if you're already up, if you get in there and you're already up 3 scores, you're not going to run your true red zone make or break an offense probably.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I would say about that is that you only get, like, you're right, you it's a small sample size, but the NFL season is still kind of a small sample size regarding when you compare it to other sports. So every game kind of matters in that sense. But once you get to like game 4, game 5, game 6, you really start to know who a team is. Whether other teams can take advantage of those weaknesses or not, that's another story. But those those flaws, those bad habits start to show themselves on tape, and you start seeing it around this mark. Like, all right, this is who this team is, which worries me about my Eagles going forward, because I'm like, this is not a 4-0 team, because I'm seeing some really bad habits and some really bad tendencies from everybody on the field right now.
Yeah, no, and that's on the McCarthy front. Ultimately, that's TBD. I mean, there's so many factors that go into that. Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott are two different players as well, so we'll see how that progresses. But I'm only worried about it because I think there's a couple deficiencies, like Dakota's weariness and the lack of size and consistency with the offensive line situation, lack of size with the running backs. There's just some parts of it that don't make me feel super comfortable going into the trenches, into the playoffs, but there's time.
There is, certainly, and you'll have a test of the trenches.
I'm more worried about the running defense than anything still. That's still the most suspect at this point.
That's
and
wild.
Most critical.
It's wild that the way to beat the Cowboys is to just run the ball directly at the best player on the football field.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, then so the linebackers start making better reads or whatever. They say that there's complex reads that have to make it or whatever.
Randy Gregory's gonna come save the whole thing.
If they do it, it's fun, but it's not. He's not a linebacker. He's an edge rusher. He'd be coming in and taking Fowler or the other guy, the guy who just scored, Golston. He'd be taking one of their jobs. But I don't think that's gonna happen. That was just propaganda.
Yeah, I don't see Gregory going.
I think Randy Gregory's probably got a better opportunity somewhere else too. Because even if he does take one of our lower end guys' jobs, he's basically just a rotation player for us, where he might be able to fucking actually be someone's starting rusher.
Just a bold prediction. I'm thinking he's gonna go be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
One of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but they said they prioritize young players, and that's why it's mutual.
Ooh. Right.
It's mutual, bro.
Get me the fuck out of here.
He said, I'm about to cause a shitstorm, and they said Sean Payton said, I'm going to sleep it off. He went back. Yeah, we should probably got that guy.
Listen, if they want to focus on players, get rid of Russ. But anyway, let's move on to the Minnesota Vikings now. They had a 21-13.
Skull dip cans.
Yeah, they had a 21-13 win over the Carolina Panthers. They snatched victory from the jaws of defeat when they probably shouldn't have, because if you want Caleb Williams, you need to lose games. But
hey, record-setting Kirk Cousins performance. How many guys have thrown 101-yard interceptions returns? Come on. The GOAT.
Yeah,
there is no one else,
and
win the game.
He did his damnedest to go down there and tackle that guy, and someone just gunned
lit the hell up for
F
it,
out of
man.
him.
We didn't talk about this in the Rangers thing. Y'all see the Evan Carter definitely fucking knocked some dude on his ass earlier. I love that. I saw another baseball collision. It was the home run he hit. It like knocked a fan on their ass because it surprised them.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that.
There was also I saw some collisions in baseball earlier that made me think that there's some fun being had. I thought there was gonna be a fight. But anyway.
Yeah. So 130 interception yards, which is about as many yards as he had passing.
Hell yeah.
He had 130.
Fucking Kirk Cousins, bro.
The duality that is the Kirk Cousins experience will never cease to entertain me from the outside looking in. Yeah, there was the Panthers gave the Minnesota Vikings their best shot, which if you've kept up with anything regarding the Panthers, this is a bad team, man. It's a bad team. They don't have receiver help. Their best bet is Adam Thielen, who's on watch, if we're being real. They don't really have a real running game.
He's an aged veteran.
That's putting it kindly, and I'm not doing that today, but go for it. Yeah, the Minnesota Vikings, they got Alexander Madison going, so that's a positive. 135 rushing yards as a team. That looked pretty good. Cam Akers looked pretty decent. Fumbles? Oh, just one. Just
Hey,
one.
you had to get the one though. Keep the record going.
Yeah, so the fumble problems still persist. The turnover problems still persist. Justin Jefferson did his thing, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 85 yards. That man is still the best at what he does in the league, so they're still going. And yeah, the offensive line of the Carolina Panthers so bad that the pass rush of the Minnesota Vikings got home. Weirdly enough, a safety led the team in sacks, right? Harrison Smith.
Flores has been running a fucking blitz heavy wild ass.
Oh, dude, he is
defense.
insane. He's an
I like
absolute
that.
madman.
It's scary for you as
Great.
a fan because it's boom and bust almost every
No,
play.
no, because the team defense is so bad that I'm like, just do that.
Yeah.
Just do that. Like that's the best shot we
Fuck it.
have at forcing something crazy to happen.
You're giving
I
up the
remember
points one way or another. At least earn some positive plays on the other
Yeah.
side of it.
Let it be exciting way to give up points. But if I'm not misquoting it, somebody said that he was blitzing on over 80% of all the defensive plays, which is an insane number that hasn't been seen ever. So
I agree.
I just want to give a shout out to
for
Brian Flores.
sure. I can't imagine he did it for the whole game.
When I play in Madden, I blitz the whole fucking game until someone shows me
Yeah.
something. So I feel you.
He calls. He is calling defense the way I would in Madden.
I gotta always have a rush. Someone extra.
It's fun.
rushing,
It's
'cause it's
when you know you don't have the guys out there, you're like, yeah, just it's fun to watch them at least do something. You know, they're not just like, all right, well, we're gonna run a man here. It's like, or we're gonna run this cover 6 zone. Like, no, you're not gonna run anything. Just try to hit the quarterback.
It's a better defensive hell than when your best player is just a middle linebacker that plays every other week. Because then it's like your team is like mildly solid at everything, but isn't good or great at anything. Remember the Cowboys couldn't rush anything and couldn't fucking intercept a ball worth a damn for fucking 5 years or something.
Really bad.
There's some defensive purgatories out there in hells. It comes in many forms.
And you know who is currently in defensive purgatory? They're in the same division as the Minnesota Vikings. Probably the next win that the Minnesota Vikings will see in the next 3 weeks, which is the Chicago Bears. They are 31st and 32nd across almost every important metric under Matt Eberflus, a guy who got hired as defensive. My brother in Christ, you need to get out of there, and while you can still keep your reputation as a defensive guy intact.
So do we call the Vikings game the Doo-Doo Cup and the Broncos game the Doo-Doo Bowl?
I think
Which
you would
one's
be
more
right.
prestigious?
I think that Broncos one was definitely more prestigious.
Okay, the bowl is more
both of those
prestigious than the cup.
teams are as
Yeah.
bad or worse than both of the teams in.
Because, like, you know, as bad as the Minnesota Vikings has been to start the year,
We also have skill
I
players.
don't see them to be. I don't think they're worse than the Bears or the Broncos. I think they're better. But
We're not getting. We didn't give up 70 points.
Yeah.
Have to cut one of your highest paid players in the middle of the season just because like you wanted to go somewhere else. That's pretty.
No,
That's
we're
pretty
good.
wild.
You still have the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs coming up. There's a chance that 50 points can at least be put up on from one of those two teams.
Kirk Cousins is so much better than Zach Wilson, and look what Zach Wilson just did. It's awesome. We got this. We're gonna be 13-4 to end the year.
No, so no more
It's
losing.
fine.
No.
Wait, what's the next? Oh, we're gonna look ahead.
No, we're 1
We're looking
and 3,
a little
sir.
bit ahead.
I built in one
Yeah.
more loss.
You built in one more loss. Looking at the schedule, I see way more than one. But hey,
when we just sit everybody in week 17, so we don't need them.
Facts.
that
We're already 13-3.
would be the greatest turnaround I think I personally would have seen in season. But we'll get to that. I do want to get to this though, because you just mentioned his name, and we kind of talked about the other team. Let's go ahead and talk about these two quarterbacks that I wanted to talk about today. We're gonna start off with one of the greatest games, as Becky put it, to ever be played. Because I want to talk about
to be precise.
the Doo-Doo Bowl. And for those of you wondering, like, why are you guys going to talk about this game? It won because it was a train wreck, and 2, it's just funny for the narrative of these two guys who are quickly being perceived as draft busts have the best games of their career and it amounted to nothing. And I'm not like laughing at their misery, but I think it's just objectively funny how that happened for them on the same day. So let's go ahead, talk Broncos, Bears. To start it off, gentlemen, I went out of my way to have this as my second screen game because this was going on at the same time as Commanders, Eagles. Brother, when I tell you, I was seeing Justin Fields tear this Broncos defense up, which is not saying much, right? Because, of course, you know, they gave up 70 points. They really should have given up more. But Mike McDaniels just was like, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and give them a mercy kill or something. I don't know. Either way, he goes off 15 for 15 to start the game, ends the half 16 of 17. He misses on a Hail Mary. You know, shocker. The Bears go into halftime with a 21-7 lead. They go up 28-7, and then from there, they blow the game. Somehow, some way, this Bears coaching staff just said, "Hey, let's just throw our hands up in the air and see what happens." And they lost. Now, I did see like a clip of somebody on Twitter posted this. It's like, this is the moment that the Bears were fucked, and it was when Sean Payton was getting the sleeves of his hoodie cut off, as if that gave him some superpower or something. I don't know. But watching these two bad teams be bad against each other in like a tale of two halves, where one team that's shit was getting their ass kicked, and then like, all right, well, it's your turn to be bad, and the Bears said, okay. I feel bad for Justin Fields, who had a career game, 28 of 35, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. Actually, it looked like a real NFL quarterback throwing the ball.
How many interceptions?
Just one. It was the interception that sealed the deal, but at that point, you look at some of the play calling that the Bears were going with, and you're like, yeah, they don't really trust this guy, which, fair. But if I'm Justin Fields, I'm like, I also don't trust this coaching staff. So it's like a weird standoff between like, you suck, and the other side's like saying, no, you suck. But I want to get Bethke's perspective on this, because I know, Bethke, that this was a game that you circled. You mentioned it as a must-watch game last week when I was absent. I want to know.
It broke my heart a little bit.
It broke your heart. No, continue. Tell us more.
It kind of broke my heart because I was staring down the face of the barrel of a storyline that included Sean Payton getting beaten 70 to something, whatever it was.
70 to 20, yeah.
And then following it up by getting routed by the worst, potentially what we all thought was one of the worst teams ever assembled, which would have almost certainly led to a Monday morning firing. Like, did you hear the Walmart guy in the fucking clubhouse after the game whenever Sean Payton was like talking? Sean Payton broke up the thing, did his little speech, and then right after that was done, the fucking owner started talking, and it was like, you could hear his voice, that it was like, there was some motherfuckers about to not be there the next day if they would have lost that game. Like, you could tell that he was like, today y'all showed me that there's a lot of fight still left in here that I wasn't sure. It was so funny, bro. It was some real, like, you could tell this dude was like, it's a tough learning job for the new ownership in Denver too. But yeah, so I'm sad that didn't happen, because the petty part of me wants to, I at one point in life wanted that man to be my head coach. Many years. Many years. Ultimately, that never happened. This year, everyone kind of wanted it to happen, even though Fat Mike had given us no reason to do that to him. People still sort of demanded it. I was like, no, I like Fat Mike. He's a football guy. Everyone's like, football guy doesn't mean anything. Like, it means something to me. And Fat Mike's a football guy.
And you saw how Sean Payton was.
He used to be a football guy.
He was Dirty Mac.
I don't know if he's a football guy anymore.
In the media, bro.
I agree. You're right.
He was. Oh, that was.
He's not running his own race, I like that Fat Mike is like, we're running our own race over here.
Yeah, and I honestly just seeing how Sean Payton was handling himself during that year away from the Saints. I'm like, bro, you're kind of gross. You're shit, and I hope you fail. And he picked a great spot to fail, because at least after games he can rip one, and it's legal.
We
You
make
don't have
this
to worry
joke,
about
but there's so many other teams that it's also legal for at this point.
True, but it's just fun. It's just so much funnier because Denver's like,
dude, the hoodie can go get fucking legal weed.
Yeah,
I mean, a
but
third of the league is in California, so
I can't see Bill Belichick just get it. Go into a dispensary and just like,
Wait,
oh, yeah,
is there 4 teams in Cali?
no.
3.
I was thinking of
3.
baseball
There's
where there's
3.
5 teams.
Yeah, 3.
There used to be 4 teams in Cali, but
Yeah, there's 3. Okay.
Going.
But anyway, so yeah, I feel bad for you, Justin Fields. I hope that you can build on it, but something tells me that Denver Broncos defense had a lot more to do with it than the other way around. So
Hey, future Minnesota Viking Justin Fields.
I mean,
Atlanta
maybe,
Falcons.
No.
maybe. You know that
Vegas
would make
Raider?
a lot more sense. Oh,
Okay.
I don't
I'm
think
just
it'd
trying
be
to
a Vegas
find the
Raider.
meter here.
I think Atlanta would make sense if Desmond Ridder continues to be bad and they want to take a flyer on Justin
What if
Fields.
he gets
is
saved
local.
by Caleb Williams? What if Caleb Williams is like, actually, fuck the Bears. Y'all have to trade the pick and get that dude more help or something because, like, I'm not going there. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but, like, y'all do it with him.
Here's the thing. If the Bears I forget whose pick that they have. They have the Panthers pick. That's right. So if the Bears and the Panthers keep this pace of just being bad, they could have the first and second overall pick. You could kind of be like, hey, Caleb Williams, you want to play with Marvin Harrison Jr.? And he's like, all right, but as long as it's not that offensive coordinator and that head coach, and they're like, yeah, we can make that.
Well, yeah, if you're tanking, that everyone has to go. Everyone must go at that point.
Yeah.
That's
For
the
better or for them's the rules. And who knows? Maybe
Except for Hugh Jackson. Didn't Hugh Jackson get 2 back-to-back over seasons because it was just like, yeah,
not over seasons. He had a
1 in
he had a 1 in
over
he had a 1 in 15 season,
How
and then he
dare I,
followed that
Jordan.
up with a winless season. So yeah, he didn't.
But I think they were
He had the
even
longest
more
losing
losses
streak in
like
NFL
on
history.
either side of those two. So it's like 1 and like 40 something overall.
Yeah, it was bad, man. He was terrible.
Well, he was paid to be.
That guy allegedly
I don't think he was
fixed,
paid to be terrible for that long.
Never forget when that guy allegedly fixed. Was it Carson Palmer? I think it was
Carson Palmer, yep.
Yeah,
With the Raiders.
The Raiders.
And
They had their moment, but their moment
they
fleeted.
did have as it is typical of Raider moments. They last about a season, and there you go.
It is a tough.
But anyway,
team.
let's talk about another draft bust from that draft class. Zach Wilson outplaying Patrick Mahomes. Now I know that the football nerds, like the real football nerds, like the film grinders, they'll try to tell you it's like no. Patrick Mahomes was still really great. I'm like, you're just looking at the box score. Well, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm gonna look at the box score because I want to spin a funny narrative, and that is Zach Wilson outplaying Patrick Mahomes. Zach Wilson, he's been bad. Let's just face it. He's been bad with no really real redeeming qualities outside of the guy's a MILF hunter, allegedly. And that one's for you, Patrick, for not getting that reference from that thing that Patrick showed us. But yeah, if you just look,
Wasn't MILF Hunter the fake show that Will Ferrell was in on 30 Rock?
was that it? I don't know. Not much
Sounds
of a
very
30
plausible.
Rock guy.
Called.
But
He would just cock a shotgun, kick open a door, and be like, just yell something about bitches. Funny stuff.
And who knows? That might be the life that Zach Wilson will have to be living if he doesn't build on this performance. But going on this performance, it is without a doubt the best of his career. It's not even close. He has been historically bad in almost every significant category of quarterbacking, and for him to show up on Sunday Night Football put up 2 TDs, no picks. I don't think he turned the ball over. Yes, he did. He did have a fumble.
We fumbled
at
that
the end
snap,
of the game,
right?
Yeah. And at the end of the game, you saw him on the sidelines. He was blaming himself. He learned from last year. If you don't remember last year, they asked him about it. It's like, hey, your defense only gave up 3 points. Because I think the Patriots won like 3-0. I think that was the game. Like, do you blame yourself for it? And he was like, no. Just straight up said no. It's not his fault. I'm like, man, kid, you're not doing yourself any favors in the locker room. And we heard it. I don't know if you guys were plugged into it, but there was rumors out there. It's like, yeah, this locker room is going to be lost if Robert Saleh keeps sticking up for this guy. Because Robert Saleh,
that was before
year,
he did this game. I mean, that's the thing about this NFL is it's very fickle. Like, even in this clip that's going viral with Marshawn Lynch today and Russell Wilson, it's like the full clip. You even hear Marshawn talk about how he's like, at the end of the day, I'll still ride with Pete Carroll and what?
I gotta go roll my windows up. It's raining. Y'all keep going. I'll be right back.
And Russell Wilson, right? And he's like, I don't fuck with them as people, but like, ultimately, I do think that those guys are people I could ride with on the football field. So it's like, winning is a big cure-all in a lot of these situations. You also saw Pat Mahomes say the little bit at the end that went viral where he's like, why don't you fucking play like that every week, kind of stuff. So, I don't know. Draft bust is tough. Like, we do like to go that far, and Wilson hasn't shown us much at all, really. But I think he's in a good situation still. I mean, he's buying time. He stays patient in New York. Even if best case scenario, Rodgers comes back this year and then plays still next year or something, and Wilson just stays back there for it. Like, you're talking about something that I think is a position that is more forgiving than most guys in his position get. So it's kind of one of those things where maybe it works out in the long haul. Like, dude, don't forget Eli Manning. The Eli Manning career should teach us to be very cautious about who we write off and who we don't, right? Like,
I mean, yes, but even at this point in his career, Eli Manning had shown more than.
That's fair. That's fair. Eli as a rookie showed that he had a lot of talent, but it was mostly like Eli's whole career as a whole just was such a roller coaster, right? Like the highest of highs, the lowest of lows kind of stuff. So it's just one of those things where I would say you got to be patient with it on both of them.
The problem is
sometimes it's a second team,
Yeah. The problem is, right, here's the big problem. Of course, second overall pick, there was a lot of hype coming in with this guy. And I would say, and it's fair, it was not warranted hype once you actually looked at what he was actually producing in college and how his play style is like. Yeah, I don't think that's going to translate into the league unless you put him in the right circumstance. The first 2 years of that Jets team that he was on, you could say, that there wasn't a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent this year, and you still see some of the same bad habits that were shown his first 2 years in the league. But hey, if he can build on this performance and keep playing to this level of consistency, he's going to buy himself some time in this league that will be forgiving of quarterbacks like him with his draft status, right?
He's better than Trevor Seaman, at least in theory.
I don't know if I agree with that one, but agree to disagree on that.
Well, it's the same thing with Lance and Cooper Rush, right? It's like you're gonna give more grace to this other guy because he's got talent, and you really don't have any other option in their case. Where it's like you're gonna try to use the upside, even though you know that maybe the Seaman guy is a little bit more reliable historically. The upside isn't there, and you know that even if he does the job, it's only for how long. Where if Zach Wilson can catch fire and he can get a little bit something under him, not only does that solve your problem in the interim, but hopefully maybe even solves your problem in the future. But it's not. I don't know, fuck, bro. Like, the Steelers won a bunch of Super Bowls with an idiot at quarterback, bro. Twice, two different dynasties.
It's a really, really good quarterback.
Yeah, one of them was a really good quarterback.
Bradshaw?
The other one was.
Come on.
No,
I mean,
not him.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm looking at their comparing their careers head to head, I mean, Trevor Siemian, at least when you go by completion percentage, they're roughly around the same quarterback. I mean,
But you're not that. You're
Field is
talking about
worse.
what Simeon has done as far as in his little bullshit backup career, getting a couple gigs. I'm talking about Zach Wilson as a potential talent and what he's shown me in flashes. What he could still potentially do because he's younger. It's that easy.
And the only thing that I would argue back on is like this is the first game where we've seen flashes because every other game there's not.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that he needs to do it again. Hopefully for him, he can.
Who's next up? And it doesn't get easier for them, right?
It doesn't, honestly. This is rough because there was expectations this season, right?
But it's a bigger playoff field. I mean, who knows what you can pull off with a team?
Oh, you know what? You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Are you ready? It's the Denver Broncos. It's the Denver Broncos. He can build.
Yeah, I'm watching another Jets game this week. Then, hell yeah.
He can build on this.
Okay.
And then it gets slightly tougher. So they go on. They play Philly. They have a bye week. Then you have the New York.
Philly's been making people look decent as far as the quarterbacks go.
I don't think they're gonna make him look decent. Right. But they have the Giants, right? They have the Giants next, and that might be one of the worst teams we'll see.
Yeah, Giants might be on the verge of blowing up. I actually had in my notes that watching Eli Manning watch the pick six Daniel Jones threw to seal their fate is the level of hell I wish upon your team all the time. Like, I don't know how the Giants got it there, but there's so many times where basically, I guess I already got that. I shouldn't be greedy. I got that with the Carson Wentz experience. It's just somehow y'all still got a Super Bowl out of that, which is the most baffling part.
You know what actual sports hell is? Actual sports hell is when you're watching a playoff baseball game and they cut to tell you about the house removing the speaker. And you're like, yeah, but the Rangers have left a few guys on base. I'm more concerned with what's going on there right now.
I was a little shocked at that, but I mean, it was the first time it happened in history, so that was technically notable.
Yeah, but it's like
it wasn't that interesting.
You could just slip a note. You could just slip a note to the broadcaster to be like,
"Wait till commercial."
Oh, breaking news.
Wait,
right?
But you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but I think we've spent enough time on the Jets. But just notable that both Zach Wilson and Justin Fields had some of the best football that they put out on tape in the pros, and hopefully for their sakes they can build on it. But we'll see. The Bears have it's not going to get any easier for the Bears, and it's definitely not going to get any easier for the Jets, except for next week or this coming Sunday.
Are we going to talk about who you'd rather have, Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield?
No, I'm not going to entertain.
I'm always fucking open.
Hey, Chase, listen. Your quarterback has a bad calf. He shouldn't be playing. He should be resting. But
I think
it's not his fault that the offense that they're building around that bad calf does not function for anybody. I don't understand what Cincinnati's doing, but at the same time, that their head coach Zach Taylor, I've never believed in him, even with the success of that team. I'm like, yeah, this team is being carried by its talent, and right now their talent, fucking Joe Burrow, has a bad calf, injury history in the NFL. Bro, please just
I'm sorry,
relax.
bro. Wins and losses is the only stat I look at.
And Baker Mayfield has significantly more career losses than Joe Burrow.
I didn't say career.
No.
I said right now.
You didn't say right now.
I'm sticking up for Rangers Nation, bro. I don't care. So the other part of this, my second follow-up to this, how long before a teammate punches Desmond Ridder?
Pretty soon, I would say. Listen, man, that's honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Pitts and Drake London jump Arthur Smith in the parking lot after a game.
I mean, what is Arthur Smith gonna do? I don't know that the kid can do what he's supposed to do. I know he would. No, yeah, they need to watch out. They need to put
The
some
son
respect
of
on that.
FedEx.
Yeah, but remember, he's been trained in all the different kinds of martial arts around the world because he's rich. And he's
a billionaire.
He went and trained with the League of Shadows. Remember that?
They'll never get close to him.
Yeah.
You can see that his billionaire family status affects the way that he thinks about his players. Whenever he gets questioned about, hey, how come your players like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, both top 10 draft picks in their respective draft classes, aren't putting up numbers? And he's like, well, those guys don't care about their numbers, okay? They just care about winning. I'm like, no. No receiver in the history of the NFL has ever not cared about how many catches, yards, and touchdowns they get. You're lying to me. It's how they get paid. Kyle Pitts, same thing. Same thing. That's how tight ends get paid. Just because your dad's a billionaire doesn't mean that,
He's an equal opportunity. Are you saying he's a socialist?
I think he's worse. I don't think he is
playing
a
the
socialist.
PR game.
He's playing a different type of. You know what this is? This is long-term low-balling strategy. What he's doing. He's like, you know what?
Is this the Dennis Reynolds system?
Maybe. And see, listen, he himself. He's bulletproof. He doesn't need the money to coach, so you can't threaten him with his job. So he has job security. And he's like, listen, if I put in a dipshit at quarterback who can't get the ball to these playmakers, they're going to blame it on that guy eventually. Doesn't matter. These guys, by the way, their contracts will be up soon. We can lowball them because we could just say, hey, you haven't produced for us. Not my fault. Even though it still kind of is your fault. Your fault, Arthur Smith.
It's beautiful.
That's my little conspiracy theory as far as why they're not putting up any numbers up there.
I did have one more quarterback thing.
What's up?
Do you feel like the Packers are in like but not love?
Yes. I hate that you phrased it that way, but yeah. I don't know if they're sold, but at the same time, you gotta. I look at it and it's like that's not a.
He starts the comment and he pulls out.
God damn it. I don't know how sold they are on Jordan Love, but at the same time, it's not like he's had a lot to work with. He just got Christian Watson back. Like Romeo Doubs, he's a solid receiver. He's not great by any means. They don't have Robert Tonyan anymore, if I'm not mistaken. And then their left tackle that they've paid a shit ton of money to just chooses when he wants to play.
Vibes.
And David Bakhtiari.
I can relate.
Which, hey, if you can get that gig, good for you. You're screwing everybody else on that team.
Oh wait, Bakhtiari might have to make a deal. We can take that kind of shit. We've been doing that in Dallas for a while now. Let's add another one. I'm cool with it. Rotate all the.
And this time, it's because
guys.
he chooses not to play, and not because his body says, "Hey, you shouldn't play."
Okay, interesting. Bakhtiari. That's a football guy name.
Yeah, but I've seen just because watching off some QB school stuff, Jordan Love has talent, and he has a feel for the game. Maybe not the same degree that Aaron Rodgers had during the peak of his powers. And Green Bay Packers fans might be like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot." I'm like, hey, relax, dog. Just look at it. He has something there. I just don't think that he is the type of quarterback that can elevate the talent around him. At least not at this point in his career. Because let's be real, this is the first action that he has gotten his entire carear.
The Peckerheads really don't put a lot around you. Like if they don't draft well, they kind of don't strive.
Yeah, they don't really go after. Like we've seen it. They don't draft first round wide receivers. They didn't do that. They rather spend it on a running back or another position that they're like, yeah, we're already kind of short over here. I'm like, yeah, but you still need to put points on the board. And like, it's fine. I don't know what that situation is in Green Bay. I'm not that plugged into it, but I do know they should give Jordan Love a longer leash than just 1 year.
Yeah.
This week's Pass the Rocks brought to you by nothing. No one. No one's paying for this.
This is Pass the Rock.
Yeah, it's free.
But yeah, other than that, I want to get to the point where I ask you guys some questions. All right, we are, like I said, 4 games into the season. It's if this was a 16-game season, it'd be quarter of the way there. But fuck it, for technicality sakes, we're gonna say we're at the quarter mark. I want to get the temperature check from you guys on how you feel watching your teams. Patrick, let's start with you. We know you're like you kind of just vibe along with what's going on, whether they're winning or losing. They're not off to a great start this season, obviously, but are you kind of hopeful that you could see a turnaround, or you're just like whatever happens happens?
You already said 13
Where are
and
you
3.
at?
Or 13 and 4.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
13 and 4, definitely gonna happen. No, I'm actually kind of worried that they're gonna go like 6 and 11 or 7 and 10 and get a mid-draft pick and not do a whole lot to help the team. Because the schedule's not that. I mean, there's a couple big teams in there. We got the Lions twice, the Bears twice, the Packers twice. Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
we're in a weird spot. So I'm mostly this year just watching for Brian Flores, see what he's gonna do with the defense. So far, that's been fun. I mean, it's obviously fun to watch Jefferson catch touchdowns. Addison looks like he's also gonna be the real deal. Hawkinson's the real deal. But without any line or a defense, it's kind of you know not to expect a whole lot.
Now, are you of the mindset that you should probably be thinking Kirk Cousins gets traded in season, or you're like, no, there's no way.
That's 100%, 100% what I would do. But I don't know the new GM well enough. He's only also been here.
Who the fuck are you guys gonna?
Year and a
You're
half.
gonna put that fucking kid from BYU? You're gonna get him murdered?
I don't care.
Y'all want Cooper Rush?
No.
Exactly.
Trying to pawn off Cooper Rush.
No.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
I don't know
you might
that
have
they will
something
trade
in
him,
BYU.
but I think the Jets would be more suggestible to that as this year goes on.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Maybe the Broncos will save that or screw you guys out of that pick, but another team might. Maybe the Falcons are close enough where they're like, damn, if we just can fucking get a reasonable quarterback, we're better than Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
I think personally, just from what I've
someone gets hurt.
seen, I would think they
Kirk
go
Cousins take over for Dak Prescott.
Oh, that's
be pretty much a
really
lateral
want that?
move.
That's why wouldn't that be the funniest narrative ever?
They're basically the same.
That's the only way that we unretire.
Sometimes that was bad.
That's the only way we're unretiring the 8 is for the GOAT.
They go to Troy Aikman. Like, can we get your blessing on this? It's Kirk Cousins.
Of course, it's Kirk Cousins.
Driving down 66.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I'm looking at the schedule for the Vikings, and it doesn't look like it's gonna get that much better, but you could still, in theory, get a top 10 pick, which may not land you Caleb Williams, but it could land you Drake May. If you can convince Shador Sanders to leave Colorado early, you could still get hit. Which would still be like an exciting prospect to have, either way. But yeah, just wanted to get your feel on that one, with how the season has been for you so far to this point. But
Not been fun.
Fair. Nah, it's fair.
A lot of oopsie daisies.
1-3 start. Never fun. Never fun. But there's still time to turn things around. Maybe. Who knows?
It is a longer season, and it's a weak division. Go on.
All right, Bethke, your Cowboys.
I pretty much said everything earlier, actually, so I don't really have anything else to add other than
no temperature check.
They've looked they've looked like the greatest team to ever be assembled one moment, and then they've also handed me a hilariously shit on a stick loss. So it feels like we're right on brand for where we should be. So everything feels similar. The offense is more fun to watch than Kellen's, but I don't know if it's better yet.
You think it's more fun?
I do think this is a little more fun.
Or you just think it's different? You
More
just think you're enjoying it because it's
fly.
not the same thing you've been seeing.
No, Kellen is real. No, dude, you guys really don't understand how fucking frustrating Kellen Moore is, bro. Like when I see them actually just run the ball in 3rd and 1, I'm like, thank you. Like in the ways that he does, like every time, like consistently. Like Mike has little bubble screens and shit that he seems to like, but like Kellen Moore, even though like Jason Garrett was always there to in his ear, even when he wasn't, he still was just like, no. I need to see if Dak can throw a slant pass that he clearly can't throw. And I'm going to call this every critical 3rd down and short instead of these simpler plays. Kellen Moore is just a big brain kind of guy. And I don't think people understood that enough. And it's like, look, he's not the worst guy in the world, but his galaxy brain ass ideas are frustrating to watch when you have a lot of other things. And I feel like the difference is McCarthy has like a realistic understanding of the players' limitations, and he doesn't ask them to do shit a lot that they're not supposed to be doing. And that makes me feel more comfortable. So it's just like, yeah, I enjoy this version. It just feels like it's progressing towards something more constructive than Kellen Moore. I mean, that's what he called it, the no identity offense, basically, like he was just galaxy braining the whole system. He's like, I'm just hitting the random button and you don't know what I'm gonna do. You never know.
Although it seems like he himself is reining that in with the Chargers because
he needs to.
He's like, yeah, Justin Herbert, you're an elite.
But that's a different talent too.
Yeah.
So maybe Herbert and Kellen Moore are perfect for each other because he was trying to have Dak do superhero shit, and Dak has more a game manager.
He started building his offense while he was watching Romo.
Yeah,
all of a sudden he has Dak.
Yeah, and they're two different guys.
And Dak's first couple of years, when you didn't quite lose a step yet, when you could run.
I don't even know if it's just the lose a step, if it's him being ginger on those little tiptoe throws or whatever. I don't know if it's all that or if it's just a nature of who he's always kind of been in a way. But ultimately, I just think that there's been a lot of fitting a square peg into a round hole with Prescott. And at least since the beginning of it, when it was literally just Dink and Dak all the time, and maybe now it's like a more evolved Dink and Dak, if that makes sense.
I mean,
there's more nuance to the dinking and dacking, but if you watch closely, it's still just dinking and dacking.
Dinking and dacking, but it's more of a staple of what the offensive philosophy is supposed to be. West Coast, or in this case, Texas Coast. It's meant to be short, intermediate.
Yep.
Quick passes, get the ball out quickly. But yeah. Well,
mostly good.
Heard. All right. And then
how do you feel about your team, Caesar?
Glad you asked because it's been.
It's like we don't care. No,
it's 4-0, and I'm miserable because every time I see this team play, it's like I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know that they know what they're doing. One example of what I mean by this: they're in the red zone against the Commanders. It's 3rd and 11. It's third and 11 in the red zone. It's been a back and forth affair to this point. It's a high leverage, gotta have it situation. And what do? They call a run play to what's arguably their 3rd best runner in Kenneth Gainwell. And it goes about as bad as you expect. He fumbles the ball. Lane Johnson picks it up. They have to settle for the field goal. And you're just sitting there watching this and like, did I really just see them do that? Now, in the previous year, they would do a run. They would do like a halfback draw. They would just go ahead, line up man to man, and just be like, "Fuck it, we're gonna run the ball. We have a better line, and we'll see what happens." And Miles Sanders would sometimes surprise you and get the run. DeAndre Swift comes in this year, and he's been way better than Miles Sanders. And they're like, "No, we gotta get Kenneth Gainwell in. He's our guy." And
his name is Gainwell. It's what do you not understand?
He doesn't gain well
for this.
Yeah, but that's why you trust it is Gainwell. He will gain well.
His name is more ironic than anything right now. But you see that, and then you guys
need to have Smallwood again.
Kendall Smallwood. That's a blast from the past. But yeah, and I look at Jalen Hurts and I'm like, man, he runs timid. He runs so scared right now. Like, I think that's the product of the coaching. It's like, hey, if you break out of the pocket, if you see somebody within 10 yards of you, just go ahead and sit down and slide. And that's how he's been playing. You look at the defense. The defensive line is still good. They're not getting home like they used to, but you can't expect them to be on a historic sack rate on back-to-back years. That's just not reasonable. Injuries are starting to pile up on the secondary. You could tell that, like, oh shit, hey, look at these spots where we haven't invested talent in linebacker or safety. It's really starting to affect us once the starters go down, because that depth looks bad, and you are the product of an easy schedule right now. And once they play a decent team, which the Rams, they have some life, right? I'm like, oh my god, I'm scared they're gonna be exposed. Like, this is giving me the 11-0 Steelers vibes. Y'all remember that Steelers team where nobody was scared of them? Like, yeah, they were 11-0, but nobody thought it was for real. And then they proved that they weren't for real. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Is that still Big Ben?
Yes. That was like back. Towards the end of Big Ben. That wasn't Kenny Pickett. So
yeah.
So that's what I get from this team. Like, the explosive talent on offense is still there. I just don't think they're doing the little things right on offense like they were last year. Like the underneath stuff, the grimy just ugly plays that would get them, into manageable situations. And on defense, they're always going to take a step back on defense. So right now, I'm like, yeah, we're undefeated. Cool. I can say that in case someone talks shit. But deep down inside, I'm like, ooh, no, there's something off here. And unless they get it together, I think this is just who this version of the team is. And I'm like, yeah, I think Jerry Jones is right in that the NFC runs to the 49ers this year.
So is you had a transition. I was going to throw you a transition, but you throw your transition if you want.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say it just kills me inside to say that, because I've been hating on that team and that fan base all year.
You are a 49er hater.
I am, but they warranted it. They deserve it. They deserve to be miserable.
I don't hate that. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why I shouldn't like the 49ers. It's just one of those things where I'm like, is any of us actually going to win a Super Bowl again? Like, that's how I feel about the 49ers. They're like, we've been to the Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you've been to 2, you lost both.
Like, I feel you. It's better than my situation, but is it better? So either that's a good transition, or would you be willing to say that the Philadelphia Eagles won't be singing Hakuna Matata when they play the Rams this week?
I feel like
I don't know how to pronounce this young man's name to actually give anybody reference for what I'm talking about if they don't.
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua. Okay.
You know what? Let's just transition into not the predictions, not just yet, but I will make it. I will make it a smoother. Why do you have that? Why do you have that ready? I love that you do. I'm just like, what? I want to know the context of why you have that loaded up into a soundboard.
What a wonderful phrase, man.
All right, it's like you guys talked about this when I wasn't around. Right. Let's go ahead and go into the watch it, skip it, train wreck portion of the football talk.
Right. It's time for another edition of Caesar's Watch It, Skip It, or Train Wreck.
Now, let's start in out of order so we can have a much smoother transition to the end of this segment. So I want to start with the skip it portion. Gentlemen, I don't know if you looked at the rundown or the run sheet, but I have 2 games for you guys that I think will be boring. Green Bay versus Las Vegas, New England against New Orleans. I couldn't think of two more boring matchups personally. Looking down the offerings of Week 5, you got nothing in Las Vegas. Like they're a shit show off the field, right? And sure, they're a shit show whenever Josh McDaniels doesn't know the score of the fucking football game. Which, how do you not? It's your job.
Or he's thinking about complex things. You wouldn't
Like,
understand.
He's plotting murders. Sorry.
He's like, I don't know how Aaron didn't get away with it. Honestly, I told him how. And then you have the Mac Jones led Patriots against maybe Derek Carr's healthy for this game.
This is the Super Bowl
does Mac Jones survive this week?
This is the Super Bowl of dead-eyed white boy quarterbacks with big foreheads.
And Jordan Love.
No, I'm talking about New England, New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
No, Vegas, Green Bay is. I'm not even gonna pretend like that's happening. So that's probably my winner for Skip It ultimately, because I might watch a mid off.
Yeah, and I can't pick between either because there's gonna be a Ranger playoff game that I'm gonna be watching. So I'm gonna skip both. But if I had to pick one of those two that I especially was gonna skip, it would be New England, New Orleans, because there's just no relevance to me whatsoever there.
You don't appreciate mid.
I'm gonna vote Green Bay, Las Vegas, because there is.
Yeah, if Green Bay wasn't in my division, that would be my answer.
The only reason is because the degenerate football fan in me would be interested in seeing a mid off for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll
I even have the Patriots defense in my fantasy. I don't want to see any of that.
Take the under.
Yeah.
We're over.
All right.
I don't know. That's
Now,
a weird one.
Now I already know what Bethke's vote on this is going to be, but I'm going to present to you, our audience, these 3 potential train wreck games. Are you ready? We have Washington versus Chicago, which I don't know if this will air by that point, but I just think that's a potential train wreck. I don't think the Commanders are all that good. And the Bears are the Bears. The dumpster fire. Next up, this one. Listen, I know we already have a 70-point burger. I don't think we'll get another one, but there is potential for another one.
New York.
This is in New York.
Oh, fuck yeah!
This is the Dolphins against the Giants. This is a blowout waiting to happen.
Oh man, that fan base can't take it. Another Danny Dimes game like that.
Hey man, I relish in their misery.
But the Dolphins defense is kind of sus still, so at least you have.
Yeah, but like it may be sus, but let's be real. That Giants offense can't put up any points to save their life.
But at least maybe you can lose 70 to like 35.
It'll be like a mid-40s to 6. It'll be like 45-6 or something.
Listen,
maybe they'll get 2 or 3 touchdowns still.
Daniel Jones will run a touchdown in, and then they'll go for 2 and not get it.
No, Daniel Jones is going to Deshaun Jackson at the goal line, trying to score the game winner.
There's just no way this Giants team puts up any real points. So I just want to see what the Dolphins do after getting embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills, which, by the way, just an aside here, I'm getting really annoyed with how every game that I've personally picked to be game of the week just ends up being either a blowout or just not interesting, like at all. When you get to the brass tacks of it, I'm like, all right, I just need to hit on one of these to be.
It is early in the season. We're in prime fuck shit season.
I mean, you're not wrong, but still, it just for my sake here.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, that's
I think the easiest answer here is tomorrow night's game, but for the national audience. But yes, I do think that I'll still relish in the misery of the Giants a bit longer if I can.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have a train wreck really with Denver and the Jets because I want to see Wilson do all right.
Yeah, but it's still like
that's your train wreck.
I still think it is a
could be.
potential train wreck, right?
If he can't get it over the Broncos, then yeah, you could definitely see that team turn on him.
The Jets defense might be the highest scoring unit in that game.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, and just so we get an idea of what the Giants are averaging in points per game, 11. Their opponents,
bad,
30. 30.
Let's go.
Whatever
Tyreek Hill MVP.
Whatever the point spread is on that game, I'm taking the over on the Dolphins. So you can take that to the bank. All right, gentlemen, final vote tally here for our train wreck of the week. I am going Miami, New York, Bethke.
Gig 'em.
Here he goes. He's in agreement.
Jets.
Alrighty. In a score of 2-1, your Pass the Rock train wreck game of the week, Miami against the G-Men.
Train wreck.
Now, let's go to the watch it.
Really cheap.
We have the Jacksonville Jaguars up against the Buffalo Bills. On paper, it may not be the sexiest matchup, right? Because the Jags have been underperforming according to a lot of people's expectations, mine included. But it's still Trevor Lawrence, it's still Josh Allen, it's still two big dudes at quarterback with wildly different play styles. But you never know. One could erupt. We could have Josh Allen go sicko mode again, or he could just fuck things up in the most ludicrous of ways that makes you question just how bad is his brain damage, if he has it. So, I can't really say one way or another that this game is better than the other one that I'm about to present to you guys. But I wanted to toss that out there for anybody who's a fan of erratic quarterback play that can sometimes just be superhuman levels of good. The next game, Dallas Cowboys. It is Bethke's Dallas Cowboys. And probably the majority of our audience is Dallas Cowboys.
Well, this game is going to be the most watched for most people because it's Sunday night only.
Yeah, it's an island game, and it's at the San Francisco 49ers stadium that's nowhere near the city of San Francisco. So,
much like
no, it's worse
Dallas
than
Cowboys.
Arlington. It's actually worse than Arlington.
It is. It's not.
It's like way the fuck up, but Arlington is funny. Arlington
like
actually,
Santa Clara or something.
to be fair though, the hating on the Dallas one, Arlington is in the middle of the two cities. It's like Minneapolis, St. Paul. They got to share custody of a fucking arena. So do we. We have a major metropolitan area here. You know what I mean? We put it smack dab in the middle. Makes sense.
Well, then call them the Texas Cowboys.
We call them the Dallas Cowboys because history matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
History.
Called the Dallas Cowboys.
There's 5 Super Bowls right here, and let me tell you about Tom
History
Landry.
matters so much that we blew up the goddamn stadium.
And we built a giant CarMax.
Death Star, yeah.
Yeah, so Santa Clara is far as fuck from San Francisco. This game must
watch.
It has to be. I put the other game up just for option, just for people to have an option. But really, you look at this, the 49ers are a buzzsaw right now. They are clicking on all cylinders offensively, defensively. The Cowboys, very talented. When they are firing on all cylinders, they can beat anybody. When they're not firing on all cylinders, they can lose to anybody. I have a feeling that this game is going to end up a lot closer than whatever the point spread is. I think San Francisco are the 5-point.
We segueing into predictions with this then?
We just might, because I think this is everybody's unanimous game of the week.
There it was. Glory hole.
Perfect transition into our predictions here with that glory hole drop.
Glory hole.
Let's be real. This is the must watch.
I want me some glory hole, but
this is the must watch game of the week. We have a lot riding on this from a narrative perspective, right? Because the last 2 playoff appearances for the Dallas Cowboys have ended at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
it's been to 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different play styles. But this version of the Dallas Cowboys defense feels like it can match up, at least when it comes to the skill positions. Where the battle will be won ultimately is, can Dallas muster up the necessary run defense to stop Christian McCaffrey, who has been on fire to start this season, right?
MVP frontrunner potentially at this moment, especially if he was to stay healthy.
And that's the big if, right? He hasn't stayed healthy in a really long time.
He's got an easier gig than he might have had previously too.
Yeah, I mean, he's
so many injuries though. How many?
Maybe.
Brandon Ayuk
How many
is
more
having
can a body take?
Brandon Ayuk having a great season. Debo Samuel,
Ayuk.
George Kittle's George Kittle,
Ayuk.
right? Like the biggest weakness of this 49ers team, and 49er fans, you may or may not disagree with me. Outside of their offensive line, which is middling to okay, is that Brock Purdy plays super aggressive, and he's been getting away with it throughout the course of his young career. He has those tools that gets him, or he has those weapons on the outside that bail him out whenever he makes a turnover-worthy play. This defense can capitalize on any quarterback's turnover-worthy plays. Look at DeRon Bland. This guy, for me at least, is coming out of nowhere. I know that he had some really good stuff on tape last season, and it's translating into this season. 2 picks this past week. We still have Stephon Gilmore playing at a pretty decent level. Given his age, given that position has a lot of volatility year to year, especially the older they get. And then, of course, that pass rush is what that pass rush is. It's elite. That pass blocking for the 49ers is not elite. So there is this matchup right here built in the trenches. Whose strength is stronger in this one, right? I think it's going to come down to this, personally. Which coach is going to be the least cowardly in the moments that matters? I call Kyle Shanahan a coward because he is a conservative coach 95% of the time. I don't know too much about Mike McCarthy being super aggressive, but I feel like this man wants this game for many different reasons. I'm going to predict this. I think the Cowboys eke it out. I think their kicker wins this game.
Yeah, I mean I feel like there's a lot of good momentum going into this week, and the history ought to be enough for them to want to show out. I'm having a hard time believing the run defense until I see it, because it's just unfortunate for them. The 2 of the wins have been so dominant and mostly attributable to the defensive success that I'm like, I don't even know how to really rate those games. So
and this is gonna be the biggest test I think they have all year.
Yeah,
we'll see who Dallas really is in this game.
But it's also not the end of the world. I mean, that's the funny part about getting that jacked up about a week 5 or week 4 matchup.
I know.
I mean, for the fans, it's also the team that's
4, right?
knocked you out the last 2 times in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So for the fans, that's a narrative.
I
and
really,
that's a storyline.
I really feel like older people get more upset about the 49ers' success. I also should clarify that I have a lot of family from California, and so like it's not that weird for like my grandpa has a Jimmy Garoppolo shirt that he still wears, and it's like I just don't feel the same way about the 49ers beef. I guess losing to division rivals,
even the more
recent
history of losing to that
but it's
specific
also
team twice.
It's also like both of those games, I felt like the Cowboys had cowboyed up and not been beaten. You know what I mean? So it's also when your team is also good at beating itself, it's hard to really be mad about the team who beat you.
Sad.
It's a weird.
I consider myself beaten if I had Zeke standing over center, but
I think that makes it a little bit more frustrating.
The rush to the line of scrimmage was the year before, or was that last year too? Or was that the last year?
No, that was the year before.
No, it was the year before.
You ran out of time.
Yeah, so like,
it was
both of those very cowboy things basically cause you not to even have anger towards anything else but the Cowboys at that point.
I think for
for
sensible
me.
fans, yes, but I think for a majority of fans, it's like who see it kind of the same way, but they take it a different direction. Where it's like, we should have beaten this team, like we had them, and
But
we
I
didn't.
still, even if we do, are we going to do it again in the playoffs? You know what I mean? Because that's just my issue. I'd rather lose this game than the next one, if that's the thing. You know, that's the way I feel about those things.
Well, this is also a seeding game. This is a game for the 1 seed, which is
I still feel like I want the Cowboys to be a wild card. I still don't feel like they should be trusted to host a game first. I feel like they should have to earn a Super Bowl when they get one. So I'm always going to be team earn it. That's just
fair,
the way
although-
I feel about the Cowboys until they do it. I don't feel
Well,
like don't feel like I can ever truly trust a Cowboys team that walks into the playoffs as the #1 seed. That will always
And also,
fuck me up more than anything else.
Jerry World is the least home field advantage of any stadium probably in the league.
That's
probably
that's
so far.
bias. First of all, it's not
Not
as
so
bad as
far.
it used to be, and the Raiders literally have not been able to sell out more than other teams since they moved to Vegas. That's like on Twitter every week.
Yeah.
We only have like 3 fan bases: the Broncos, the 49ers, and I think the Steelers actually have 2. The Chiefs can too. The Patriots did with Brady, but now no Brady doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, like I look at SoFi and I'm like, yeah, everybody else's fans go there, not the LA teams, and then of course Raiders. But I think that's a product of them just being shit.
Yeah, in Vegas.
More than anything, in Vegas.
it's a fucking vacation.
Yeah, so the whole Dallas doesn't have has the worst home field advantage. I
It's
don't
not
buy
the
it.
best.
Not anymore. No, definitely.
Especially at 3 p.m.
I think that's from all that time they've had to tailgate.
No, I was talking about God.
The
When
sun.
God wants to interfere.
The fact,
the
fact
sun.
that they designed the stadium wrong and won't do.
See, but you
anything about
say wrong, and I say that they did that for God, and that's why we can't reason with their logic, because that was their logic.
Oh god. Well, anyway, so let's get your official prediction then on this one. Are you
I
thinking
always have to pick the
49ers show
Cowboys.
up?
I'm not going to pussy out and pick the other team to hedge my bet. No, I'm picking the Cowboys to go. What is it? 17 or 16-1, and yeah, 20-1. Is that how you win a title? Even though I just said I don't want them to be the #1 seed, I'm picking them to be the #1 seed.
And I think they will be. If they can get past this win. If they can get past this team.
We'll see.
But if they don't, then I think it's in San Francisco's hands. But Patrick, as somebody who doesn't have any stakes in this game, who do you see coming away with a W to end week 5?
The Niners are gonna win like 27-17.
Dak interception to seal it.
Could be. I think it's gonna be more sacks than interceptions that ruin those drives.
That's the true
Sacks and
Dak
punts.
answer. That's the realist version.
And
of Dak.
the Niners answer just
Well, it's also just him. He puts so much trust in everybody, no matter who's playing offensive line. Dak Prescott's like, God's got me.
It's like, yeah, just do your job. Just do your job, and we got this. And they don't got it.
he just can't understand why it's not like his rookie season every year.
Fucking for real. Still hasn't. But,
Alrighty, well let's move on then to our next set of predictions. We'll go with. I have it in order here. I had Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia, at the Los Angeles Rams. That's going to be a home game for the Philadelphia faithful, who have packed out SoFi and or any other stadium that they've been using to host LA teams. Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua's been really fucking good, and they have Cooper Kupp back.
Your team has been making quarterbacks and receivers look pretty fucking good.
Yeah, especially those in the slot. We just signed Bradley Roby, who probably won't dress for this game, so it's still going to be James Bradbury, who has no experience playing in the slot prior to this season. in the slot, and then you have Josh Jobe, an undrafted free agent, out on the outside against another undrafted free agent and Puka Nacua. Or wait, was he undrafted? I think he was a 6th round pick.
No, he was a 5th rounder or something like that.
All right, well,
He's like the
either way,
MMA fighter, right?
Puka Nacua?
Is he in MMA? I don't know if he did MMA or not. It wouldn't surprise me. He went to BYU, so who knows? Maybe he does a lot of soaking. For those who don't know what that is, Google it.
Bro, no
I feel like for
caffeine.
some reason he's like friends. For some reason he's like friends with Dana White.
Oh.
I figured it was just because he was.
Oh, so he's a real NFL guy.
Oh, because he
I
played
figured it was
with
'cause
Dana
he-
White's son. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That makes
He
sense.
played Pop Warner.
I just assumed it meant that he had been in some kind of fighting, but no, that makes more sense.
Well, probably
yeah.
as a result of that friendship.
So the way that I see this game going, if Philly's getting their shit together, right? This is the game where you take advantage of a not great offensive line from the Rams. All right, you're gonna force Matthew Stafford into playing like his old reckless self. You're still gonna give up yards to Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, because those guys are just Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua has every possible like. The narrative for this guy of being Rookie of the Year is there. All right, he is proven himself to be at least the next Rams wide receiver sensation out since Cooper Kupp. Even though they do play a little bit differently, Puka does it more from the outside of the numbers and Cooper in the slot. So there's room for them to coexist.
The one's going to pound the outside, the other's going to pound the slot.
Yup. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, outside of Aaron Donald, I don't know too many names on this Rams defense. The Eagles should, in theory, just go ahead and run the ball down the throats of the Rams. But this Eagles team lives to make me sweat, so I think they barely pull it off in yet another one-score game. I think this team goes 24-21. Eagles win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get their first loss of the season here. Bethke, I already know you're picking the Rams. I just want to know what your reasonable score is.
I am going the opposite route. I wish the Philadelphia Eagles nothing but continued success to start the season. I also,
jinxing me.
I think this is a perfect game for them to really step up and answer a lot of the questions and start to gain most of the national narrative that they are now better than the Kansas City Chiefs and ready to take on that rivalry in that perennial Super Bowl potential matchups. I think that
This seems like a runaway.
exactly. I mean, I think that's where we're at narratively. I also think that if you guys could embarrass the Rams, that could potentially go away into having a mid-season trade for Aaron Donald to the Dallas Cowboys. Now that's still reaching.
There it is.
But I just need to always keep every option and pipeline open. So we're just going to make sure that you guys can just do your part this week. That's all we're asking.
This is about the most complimentary he's been of my team in a calendar year, it feels like. And I always knew there was an agenda somewhere hidden in there. And I'm glad we got it out.
Yeah, the agenda is for you guys to blow your load in the regular season. That is the agenda.
They might blow their load after the 6th game, for being honest, but it's not a very strong load. Anyway, Patrick,
Ayo.
what do you got?
I got the Eagles winning this one 35-31.
All right.
Oh,
we're
you're
in agreement.
I think it's gonna be an offensive fight where the Eagles are. It's not gonna feel as close as 35-31, like a backdoor cover type deal.
Like the Vikings game where they got that last touchdown to cover. It ended 34-28, and it was 34-20.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant that. I was thinking about Vikings Panthers since that was the most recent game. So I was like, I don't remember
Vikings
that
Eagles.
happening, but okay, yeah.
Where they got the backdoor cover right there at the end of the game.
Then yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. if they do it like that, then I guess that's okay with me for another week. But I don't know. We'll see where I'm at after that. And let's finish things off with the team that Becky just mentioned and the team that Patrick is repping. The Chiefs, the Vikings.
Rematch of Super Bowl 2? 3?
Is this it? Is this where they get the monkey off their back? That ghost that's been haunting them for so long.
Talking about playoff rematches, this is a big one. 50 years in the making.
We have played a few times since then.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe a couple.
Yeah, well, this time the Chiefs
probably
are
another
in
Super Bowl.
No.
Well, this
No,
is
that's
this
last
Chiefs
time
is
y'all
the
did
reigning
a Super
champs.
Bowl, right?
No, we've been to 5, lost them all.
Wait, I thought you guys been to
When's the
4.
last time the Vikings were in the Super Bowl?
4, sorry.
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah, 60s and
Yeah,
70s,
okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The Purple People Eaters. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot off my prediction on this one. Listen, if the Vikings want any chance of winning this game, it's one, they can look at the Kansas City's last couple of games. They haven't been the sharpest on offense, right? Like, this is not the same Kansas City Chiefs that we're used to seeing. Something's just not clicking with Patrick Mahomes in the wide receiving core outside of Travis Kelce. Let's be real. If you can stifle Travis Kelce, you have a real chance, because this is just not working the way that it worked last year when they didn't have a star wide receiver when they got rid of Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce was the focal point. You go into year 2 of him being the focal point, and it's just not the same. I would worry if I'm the Minnesota Vikings about blitzing heavy, because Patrick Mahomes, he thrives against the blitz, and he struggles a little bit more against zone coverage. When you drop 7, drop 8, that might be their best chance, but who knows? Brian Flores may not trust that defense to do that. So this could be a big game. This could be a big game if they live on the if they live on the edge of being blitz happy. But Minnesota does have the weapons to keep up if they can keep the ball safe. They haven't to this point. I don't know if they will. I think this is the bad habit of their 2023 season. I'm seeing Kansas City. I don't know if they're putting up a bunch of points. I'm saying this game's 25-14. That might be a scoregami, by the way. But
Feels unique. I
Don't get a lot of
don't think you get
25s.
I also feel like this is going to be a good one. I have a history that shows me that this is a one-score game. I have almost 70% chance it's a one-score game. And this is the turn of the season for one team, and the beginning of the tough part of a season for a team who always does this. Now that they're complacently the perennial champion. I think the Kirkinator steals one from the Chiefs. Is this in Arrowhead?
this is, I believe, in
I think it's
Minnesota.
in Minnesota.
Okay, there you go. Even better. So now I don't have to worry about Arrowhead. Probably the best home field advantage in football. Maybe I'm forgetting someone better. So now I'm really talking about a setup here for Addison, Cousins, Hawkinson. We're playing high scores. Yeah, it's over. Minnesota Vikings begin their ascent back into playoff picture. I got you, Patrick. The turnovers are going to fade. They're going to stay to like 1 a game, maybe 2. That's manageable.
Are you saying this because you think the Chiefs would go on a down spiral and Chris Jones hits the trademark?
No, this has no Dallas Cowboy agenda. This is me actually realistically looking at what the Chiefs just do, and me being like, they're going to drop some stupid games. Maybe this one isn't the right one to pick because they almost just dropped a stupid game. The Jets is a tough defense. So you drop a stupid game, everyone starts to doubt the champs, and then they get rolling again, and they just steamroll all of us and all of our hopes and dreams. Philly, you built the dynasty. You don't have Patrick Mahomes, pussy. That's what's gonna happen, because that's what football is now. Is the rest of us just trying to build something to lose to Patrick Mahomes?
You're not entirely wrong there. Patrick, where do you think? You got Bethke in your corner. You got me saying it might not happen.
The Chiefs are gonna win 41-17.
Oh,
Jeez.
those days.
Oh man,
It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be really bad. We barely beat the Carolina Panthers. I don't know.
that is fair.
Well, when you put it like that, I don't care. That's just why I said this is the perfect dud team for them to fuck up and lose to.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't particularly see it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you for feeling like that. But on the bright side, there is always the possibility that the Chiefs get caught lacking, and it could be at least a high-scoring affair to be entertaining.
Have you guys gotten your suite ready for the impending arrival of the Queen of Football?
Oh God.
I don't know if she'll be there. It's not going to be I don't think it's a prime game or anything.
There's no way. There is no way that Minnesota isn't one of our strongest bases.
She's about to launch her world tour, so I don't know when that officially starts. So she might. I don't know. I feel like I would have heard more about it.
CBS game, maybe not.
Well, Minnesota's a prime. I'm just saying.
Listen, she made an appearance at home at the Chiefs Stadium, and she made an appearance in New York. New Jersey.
Yeah,
it's a small city, so maybe Indianapolis too.
The only time we might see her again is when they play the Chargers, and when they play Las Vegas, and then that's it. No more Swiftie, please.
No, that's a contract with the NFL. She's in.
Oh God, no! There's. Oh, I forgot all about this. Okay. This is gonna be the most annoying thing. Week 11, Monday Night Football. It's Philadelphia versus the Chiefs. It's the Kelsey brothers. It's Taylor Swift, who is a known Eagles fan, and it's DeAndre Swift.
When the fuck was she a known? What the fuck? When the fuck did this happen?
It's. She said in an interview one time, or like at a concert. She did like a Fly Eagles Fly. She from Philly, or from right outside of Philly. Yeah, she's from outside of Philly.
Alright, at least that's more believable.
Yeah, but yeah, she's been shown rocking Eagles wear before. It's whatever. It's the fact that the Eagles have a Kelsey brother and a Swift, DeAndre Swift, and it's Kansas City has Travis Kelce, and then he has Taylor Swift.
Can I tell you right now?
I know that there's going to be too many of those puns going along, and I'm just not here for it.
We have too much Kelce in our lives as it is. This Kelce obsession is unhealthy. Travis is all over my fucking screen one way or another. And then his fat loser brother is in there too. And it's like, I don't need either of these guys on my screen. Center. Okay, I need more Dak Prescott commercials.
Best damn center you've ever seen.
Yeah, because Travis Frederick developed a fucking unknown
Travis
disease
Frederick couldn't lace his
was probably given to him by a Philadelphia fan.
On his best day, could not do that. But that's fine. Wait, did you just call Brooke Hogan an Eagles fan?
Huh?
Or what's her name? You said something about.
No, I said a Philadelphia fan is who injected him with the illness that caused him to have to quit football.
Oh, I thought
you
were implying that Hulk Hogan's daughter did that for some reason.
She might have. I don't know. Maybe she's the one who they hired, like fucking P. Diddy did.
Allegedly.
Super allegedly, P. Diddy. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Vote or die, motherfucker.
You just a bit. This is a bit, Diddy.
I'm sorry, Biddy. I'm sorry, Diddy. I didn't do it.
It's a bit.
All right.
Anyway, I think
Football week in
I'm
America.
tagging this one with Ciroc. Is that his?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, we love Ciroc here at Pass the Rock.
Pass the Ciroc. Let's do
There
it.
you go. Go ahead, Pat. Make a fake ad about it.
Diddy dirty money.
It's bad boy. We ain't gonna stop. All right. But we will stop now because that concludes the football segment. I think we've gotten derailed enough. Fellas, it's good being back. Good luck to both of your teams.
Foosball.
We'll just
I'd
drop
like
it
to
on
think that, we're the velvet underground of podcasts. We can get away with anything.
That's exactly what I was going for. The Velvet Underground of sports podcasting.
You know what?
All right.
I believe that.
On that note,
I'm losing.
I bid you all a farewell and much slumbers. Good luck to everyone watching Washington and Chicago tomorrow, you sick fucks.
Hasta luego.
You're listening to Pass the Rock, and as always, please like, subscribe, share. There's a full rate attached. Do all the things that you can possibly do to support us so that we can support you. Thank you. Bye.
This